attention? Alright, so the United Healthcare shooter has gotten a lot of attention lately, and Ben Shapiro is mad at that. And his supporters are mad at him for being mad at that. Let's get right into it.
Updates in the search for the murderer of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, who's, of course, on Wednesday. And there are some pretty deep ramifications for American society and all this. We'll get to that in a moment. First, time is running out. Daily Wire Plus is 50% off, but not for much.
Jesus fucking Christ. I am going to actually take that screenshot for reasons. Alright.
On Wednesday, as we know, the United Health executive, Brian Thompson, was shot to death on the streets of New York. Authorities are still searching for the suspect at this point, according to the Wall Street Journal. Police are combing New York City for the suspect who used a Sharpie to write "deny, defend, and depose" on cartridges that are believed to have come out of his gun when it jammed, according to law enforcement officials. Some of those words are commonly associated with tactics insurers use to avoid paying claims. Investigators believe that the suspect may be staying or may have stayed at a hostel on Manhattan's Upper West Side. The NYPD hasn't publicly identified the person who ambushed Brian Thompson. However, they have released an image of the person, quote-unquote, wanted for questioning. They released his face. He's smiling and wearing a hood in one of the photos as he appears to lean on a counter. Authorities are offering up a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to an arrest in the case. The real question in all of this...
Only $10,000. That is fucking wild. That is absolutely wild. They are only offering $10,000.
Is how Americans respond. So Taylor Lorenz, we talked about her yesterday. She is a psychotic former reporter for the Washington Post and the New York Times. She's totally insane. She was insane on...
We get it, Ben. We understand. You don't have to repeat it 7 billion times. I know I do the same thing.
COVID. She was insane when it came to the supposed predations of people on the right who ought to, she said, be shut out of media, and particularly social media. Well, now she is...
I don't know what to... This is just a nothing burger. What get to the point, Ben?
Full-scale rallying in favor of the murderer. So she tweeted yesterday on Blue Sky, which is a weird left-wing echo...
Blue Sky is not a left-wing echo chamber of Twitter. People are just leaving Twitter because it sucks. Let's be honest, Twitter sucks right now.
Chamber form.
Let's be honest, Twitter sucks. Elon killed Twitter. Blue Sky is just there to fill in that void. It is not a left-wing echo chamber.
Of Twitter. There was a post put out by Blue Cross Blue Shield all about whether it was going to pay for anesthesia under its healthcare coverage. And she then tweeted out, quote, "And people wonder why we want these executives dead." So openly cheering the death of Brian Thompson. That wasn't her only post. Somebody put out a statement saying, quote, "Legislation idea. Healthcare executives and their families must be on the cheapest plan their company offers, and they aren't allowed to seek other care." And she wrote in all capital letters, "Endorse." Then...
I mean, yeah. Healthcare CEOs and executives need to know what they are providing to people. They need to know how it feels. This is good.
She put out a post that showed a graphic of a happy star, like a star with a happy face and balloons, and the caption "CEO down." And she wrote, "Woke up to see this spammed in my group chats." And she said, "I am not alone," that other people were doing the same thing. Then she reposted a post from left-wing agitator Ken Klippenstein.
I love those. Those are fucking funny. I love that.
Saying today we remember the legacy of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And what exactly was that legacy? The claim denial rates by insurance companies. And of course, it's not just Taylor Lorenz. Socialist Nathan Robinson.
This is not a left-right issue at all. Ben Shapiro wants to spin the narrative that it is. And people are not buying it anymore. Like, actually, people are not buying it anymore. I love this.
A complete useless leech on the ass of society, posted himself, quote, live your life in such a way that people will be sad when you die. That was above a screen cap.
Yeah, actually, that's good advice. Live your life in a way that makes people sad when you perish. When you live your life, and people, like, when the end of your life comes, if people are happy, you've done something wrong. You've done a bad thing. You fucked up in some way. I don't think I need to explain that. I shouldn't have to explain
The New
that.
York Times headline that said torrent of hate for health insurance industry follows CEO's killing. That piece from the New York Times is all about people who apparently were perfectly fine with the murder of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York City.
Yeah, because people are fed up with the healthcare system in the US. I can't publicly state whether I support or don't support it. But I think you all know where I stand on it.
According to the New York Times, none of this stopped social media commentators from leaping to conclusions and showing a blatant lack of sympathy over the death of a man who is a husband and father of 2 children. Thoughts and deductibles to the family, read one comment underneath the video of the shooting.
Thoughts and deductibles. I fucking love this. I love this. This is like actually uniting people.
Being posted online by CNN. Unfortunately, my condolences are out of network. A TikTok user wrote, quote, I'm an ER nurse, and the things I've seen dying patients get denied for by insurance, it makes me physically sick. I just can't feel sympathy for him because of all those patients and their families.
Yeah, she has an actual reason to not care whether or not he perishes. Wow. Ben, you're really bad at this. Did you know that? Did you know that, Ben? That you're really bad at your job? I hope you know that.
And these sorts of messages were incredibly common across the internet. We discussed yesterday a Columbia professor who wrote something very similar. Unfortunately, bubbling under the surface of all this is something very serious, really serious. What is that serious thing? The revolutionary left is creeping into the mainstream. Yesterday we talked.
The revolutionary left. Okay. Oh yeah, I think this is better than the previous. Alright.
About liberals versus the left. Liberals are people who disagree with me on public policy, but aren't in favor of, the murder of their opponents. The left is a different thing. The shooting of Thompson has unleashed a wave of
This is not a left-right issue. I'll say that until the sun explodes. This is not a left-right issue.
evil from members of the left. Thompson was not a criminal. He wasn't even an advocate of death, the way, for example, abortion or euthanasia advocates are.
Abortion is not murder. You're lying, Ben. You're just lying.
And by the way, murdering an abortionist or an advocate of euthanasia would be unjustifiable morally in a democratic system. Brian Thompson's great sin, according to these people, is that he was the head of a company that exists within a mixed private-public healthcare framework.
Yeah, because he used an AI to to deny people health care so he could line his own pockets. You should be able to understand why people are happy he's gone. Not even his own board members cared. They stepped over his body. Nobody cares.
Framework, and that he did his job, because that's how health insurance actually works. Some things are covered, and some things are not. And you may not like the application of the coverage, and it may be bad. That is not an excuse for murder. But for the left, if you hate the system, you are morally justified in murdering anyone who acts.
No. He's just... He's wrong here. I can explain why. Just because people don't care if a healthcare CEO is gone does not mean that they're literally saying, go do this. Nobody's advocating for this. They just don't care that it happened.
Within the system. That means that if, like one Bernie Sanders follower did, you believe that private health care kills Americans, you can go around murdering Congress.
It does kill Americans. We've seen it. We've literally seen Americans die because they couldn't get their health care because they wanted to use an AI chatbot to deny people. I don't get it.
Congress people. I know we buried that one. We need to pretend it never happened. Steve Scalise is still limping today because he was nearly shot to death by a Bernie Sanders fan who believed that being part of the quote-unquote system that didn't nationalize healthcare meant you were a murderer. This stuff means that if you don't like that health insurers often deny coverage for certain pre-existing conditions or non-covered doctors or medication, you can then...
What? I do not understand it. I don't have enough knowledge to comment on that. Honestly.
Murder the CEO of a health insurance company. This is revolutionary leftist evil. And it's evil.
It's not. I've seen people on the right cheering for this. People don't care. They just don't. I'm actually gonna pause the recording. Alright, I'm back. Alright.
For a couple of reasons. First, violence is not justified in a democracy where your say is part of the process. This is why democracies are generally good, because they outsource the violence to the government. Revolution to overthrow tyranny is justified, but tyranny has to be actually real, and violence has to be the last resort. I didn't like public policy in California, so I picked up my family and my company, and we left. Okay, tyranny is not real in the case of healthcare in the United States, and violence is not being used as last resort in this particular case. If you perceive...
People are fed up. The system is not working. It is the last resort. People are tired, Ben. You don't get that because you don't care. Ben, you don't care.
America to be a tyranny and violence to be the proper response. That is a call for unending violence until the system itself is changed. It's a call for revolution. When you say it's okay to murder CEOs on the street, that is a call for revolution. Second, violence against members of private industry, that isn't even a protest of public policy. Let's be fair about this. That isn't even shooting politicians, which would be evil enough. It's even a different level of evil, because it's a protest against the very system of free markets themselves. Brian Thompson isn't responsible.
People are mad because they want universal health care. They might not know that's what they want. They might not care that's what they want, but they want something changed. They want people to be alive. I think deep down, everyone wants their family members, their friends to remain alive and happy and healthy. Able to, be.
For America's healthcare system, any more than the head of CVS is responsible for America's trade system. Directing hatred against Brian Thompson is not about shaping public policy. because you could shoot every CEO in America and it wouldn't shape public policy. It turns out that it's about trying to threaten anyone who engages in free markets at all. This is simply
It's not. It's not about threatening anyone who engages in free market. CEOs are doing everything they can to line their own pockets when people can't afford groceries. The system is broken, Ben. You're just mad because people are finally seeing it.
Marxist, leftist, radical evil. This person could just as easily have shot a doctor who decided not to perform a surgery, or shot a bank CEO who denied a loan application for a home. It would have fallen under the same category. This, by the way, is not uncommon, unfortunately, in modern Western history. This was all the philosophy of the Red Army faction in Germany in the 1970s. That was known as the Baader-Meinhof Gang. They weren't seeking a better world. They were seeking to tear down the world of capitalism on behalf of Marxist revolutionary evil. These are people who routinely quoted Herbert Marcuse and Antonio Gramsci.
Not everyone who disagrees with you is a communist, Ben. This isn't the Red Scare.
They called for revolution. Ulrike Meinhof, a left-wing radical journalist, led the way. She famously said, quote, "Protest is when I say this does not please me. Resistance is when I ensure what does not please me occurs no more." And that language is replete with echoes in today's society, from college campuses to left-wing media. That philosophy led the Baader-Meinhof gang to engage in routine assassination of everyone from industrialists like Hans Martin Schleyer to Dresdner bankhead Jürgen Ponto to American soldiers in Germany. These people also sometimes become the tools of enemy regimes. Baader-Meinhof certainly was. They worked with the Stasi, the East German Stasi, other Soviet agents to foment chaos. They coordinated with terrorist groups like the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and the Palestine Liberation Organization itself. The origins of Baader-Meinhof came from the 1968 student protests in Germany.
What does this have to do with the video, Ben? What does this have to do with anything? Like, actually, Ben, what the fuck does this have to do with the video? Honestly, why do we care? Why should I care?
Does any of this sound familiar? They were Marxist in orientation. They were actually influenced by the 1965 Watts riots in the United States, radical race riots in the United States, in which violence was somehow justified. They allied with radicals all over the globe. They would read Che Guevara. They wrote essays defending the Munich massacre of Israeli Olympians by Palestinian terrorists. Stephen Ost is an author who literally wrote the book on the Baader-Meinhof gang. And he pointed out, quote, "The Baader-Meinhof gang drew a measure of support that violent leftists in the United States, like the Weather Underground, never enjoyed. A poll at the time showed a quarter of West Germans under 40 felt sympathy for the gang. 1/10 said they would hide a gang member from the police. Prominent intellectuals spoke up for the gang's righteousness, as Germany, even into the 1970s, was still a guilt-ridden society. When the gang started robbing banks, newscasts compared its members to Bonnie and Clyde. Andreas Baader, a charismatic action man indulged in the imagery, told people his favorite movies were Bond."
He's speaking so fast that you can't... There's no room to pause, and that's the point. He's trying to get you to turn your brain off so you just listen and absorb the information.
Bonnie and Clyde, which had recently come out, and the Battle of Algiers, which is an anti-colonial propaganda piece on behalf of actual groups that would end up with an Islamic fascist regime in Algeria. The pop poster of Che Guevara hung on...
Wait. Shit. Okay. I really don't care about this. Let's look at the comments, actually. I do want to see the comments. This is brain rot. Okay, cool. Is this sorting by, okay, yeah. Hold on. Alright. It's not left or right, it's not black or white, it's rich versus poor, your true colors are showing. I love that. That's true. Remember, guys, Ben has more in common with that CEO than he had. True. True. Actually, true. He had a wife and family. Yeah, bro. So did hundreds of thousands of people who are denied healthcare and die. That's true. Totally. Oh, that's sweet. I'm not buying this left versus right shit anymore, Ben. I want healthcare for my family. Don't say you are. No, that's true. I like this. I love this comment. Don't say you are pro-life and then side with health insurance companies. I like that. If you are truly pro-life, then you shouldn't be in favor of people dying at all. I'm personally pro-choice. Even I don't want people to die. I think that's just a normal thing to want. As a conservative, I'm sick of rich elitists destroying the family unit. Quite literally, I'm proud of the left and right have united. I may not vote the same way, but damn it, I can agree we are tired of being pushed around. Yeah, people want change. People actually, they're craving change. Seeing rich people be so out of touch on this topic and be so clearly afraid of potential class consciousness truly fills me with hope. I don't like the class consciousness narrative because it can often lead to tanky bullshit, but eh, just because the left likes something doesn't mean you have to instinctually hate it. Wake up and read the room, bro. That's true. That's true. Fact. Both the left and the right are cheering. We don't care about your feelings. Oh, he is getting fucking cooked in this comments. According to Ben, I went from Trump voter to revolutionary leftist in the span of You did. According to Ben, you did. This guy is so obsessed with creating confrontation between the left and the right that he is now completely disconnected with the reality of everyday people, his voters included. I'm actually going to respond to that. Has did I spell? There we are. Alright. I think that's where we're going to end it off. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Ring the bell icon, and goodbye.